a specialist in IT distribution network with an incredible 17 years of professional experience in ICT. Wow, 17 years. you can't quantify experience. When you go to school, certificate is good, but the experience, being on the field, being hands-on for that number of years. And I know she will actually, any one of us after the event, we can poke her on artificial intelligence, because we know Intel is doing great work with respect to that. And part of those that will be having the chat with us today is Mofi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name very well. Mofi Olawumi, right? She's a senior executive, entrepreneur selection and growth at Endeavor Nigeria. And we know Endeavor Nigeria supports startups, support the growth of not only women, but all young entrepreneurs, and also those, the youths, let me put it that way. And we've seen the great work Endeavor is doing, which is a very good one. And we say kudos to them. And we also say thank you for your contribution to the Nigeria startup ecosystem. And next we have a very good friend of the house, I hope she's still okay. She's with us. Olaniyi Louisa. Hello, Olaniyi Louisa. Thank you for being part of this talk, and thank you for your time. We appreciate your time. Louisa is a seasoned broadcast journalist. Especially, she has thrived in the Nigeria ICT media ecosystem, and she has contributed a quota in various ways to develop and also promote the Nigeria ICT ecosystem, from different reports, from different special reports, interviews, documentary. And right now she's with WION as the Nigerian correspondent, sharing what is happening in the Nigerian ICT ecosystem along with the rest of the world. Not last but the least, I hope she's not yet with us. It's Olayinka Adesope. She's an IT audit expert. She has worked here. She has thrived here in the Nigerian ICT ecosystem, now extending that capacity on other parts of the world. But right now, currently, she's I hope everybody can hear me, because somebody sent a message on the chat. Okay. She's sharing her knowledge and also an expertise in the United States ICT ecosystem. Let me put it that way. So not to waste any more time, we would like Madam Rita to speak 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, on the topic. She has experienced the Nigeria ICT ecosystem for 17 years. She has contributed a quota to the ICT ecosystem for 17 years and more. And she has, interacted with different sectors of the Nigeria ICT ecosystem. I would like her to speak to the topic for 5 minutes. Madam Rita, are you here with us?
So good morning, everyone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, even though there is no man. So
we are waiting for them.
Observed. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for, inviting me for this particular event. I'm so honored to be part of this event. It always gives me pleasure.
There is man here. There is man
here. You see, I wasn't mistaken. I was led by the Spirit. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. Okay. So I am honored to be invited to speak, on this day. And everything that concerns women is very dear to my heart. And particularly for this particular year's topic, which says embracing equity. We've always, loved equity. We've always campaigned for women empowerment. We've always campaigned that women should be recognized. Women should be felt in the society. What we are giving in, what we are contributing should be felt and should be recognized as well. And with that, that gives us so much love and so much strength to carry on and to move on. And for the interest of some of us who actually doesn't really, understand what International Women's Day means to all of us. For me, it means a different thing, and I know for somebody like Mojishola, it will mean another thing. Most of us here, it means different things, but we're all bonding together towards one mission, towards one goal, towards one achievement. So for me, really, International Women's Day to me is a global day where women are celebrated. Not just celebrated, we celebrate the social, the economic, the cultural, and political achievements of women. So be it that, oh, you are in the political arena, you are in the working class arena, you are in the culture of what Nigeria has given us as culture or cultural background. You are on the social aspect, you are in the economic aspects. It all boils down and bundled together to celebrate which area you have showcased your strength. Being a workaholic or probably a mother at home, a housewife, and all of those, we put those things into cognizance and recognize you for the strength, for the power, for the culture, for the things that you have put in place for this particular contest. So to me, that is what it means. And for the actual topic for today, which says it is embracing equity for innovation and technology development in Nigeria in the ICT sector. Yes, what is innovation? For me, innovation is about creating ideas. It's about getting better, and it's about enablement of growth for organizations and also for persons like us. We can be innovative. We've seen women who are very innovative. You've seen women who can plait hair, for instance. You've seen women who can sew cloth. You've seen women in different categories where they showcase innovation. So innovation is about creating ideas. So women have that capability of creating ideas, aside it being in technology. So now bringing innovation to technology, what is technology? Technology is that advancement of your innovation in the world of engineering, so to speak. And what I mean by world of engineering is the world in which we live in is an engineering world, because we bring in things to engineer all the creativity that we have put in place. So that is what I see in terms of innovation and in terms of technology. So embracing equity for innovation and technology development in Nigeria ICT sector is about us bringing together our ideas, our creativities that will enhance us and enable us in that advancement that will make the world a different place and a better platform for all of us to live in. So that is what I have seen, that we are bringing together this innovation and technology to develop Nigeria in the ICT world, where we all can have a very decent and comfortable platform to play in. Everybody now is going digitalization. We are all into information communication technology. So that's what we are doing. And for those of us who really want to know the full meaning of ICT, is information and communication technology. That's what it means. If you can't communicate, you can't pass information, then you are not practicing the technology of today. And I am assuming that all of us as women and all of us as in this particular program today, we have experienced information, we have experienced communication and technology itself. That is why we're here today. And for instance, a very simple technology that we are using today is talking to each other from different countries at the same time, having a real-time discussion. So that's what technology is all about. So thank you very much. I'll give opportunity for all of us to interact. And as we move on, there are certain things that will come up and we continue to interact. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Rita, for your response on the main topic of today. But before we go further, I want to say welcome to others that are just joining us. And I also want to make one or two announcements. Please, everyone, this meeting URL is for everybody. So you need to be careful what you do from your own end, not to change the outlook of it, because I didn't want to shut anybody out. So that is why everybody can access it. So unless you want to, when is required, do not share your screen, please, because we already have speakers and we have those that will make comments. Excuse me, those that will make comments after the main speakers have spoken and maybe add one or two things. And also, if your mic is on, you can mute it except when you're talking, please, so that there won't be any voice or sound disturbance with the main speakers when they are speaking. So please, let's allow everybody to, those that need to speak, mute your mic, and also um, your screen. Please don't share unless it's your turn to speak or share your screen. So please allow the setting to be at the way it is. My first question goes to the women in the house, though we recognize the men in the house as well. We have technologists there, we have innovators there, we have entrepreneurs there. But most importantly, why should International Women's Day be important to women in ICT, especially women in ICT in Nigeria? I would like to start from Madam Rita, please. Your response.
Okay, so for me, why it should be important is part of what I have just said now. You have to look at the importance of technology. So why it is important for women is that it encourages growth. It increases your financial services. It also is something that makes availability an advanced procedure for you. It increases the ease of your turnaround time in things that you do. For instance, like the innovation that I have shared, that it is about creating ideas. So if you are technologically engaged, you are able to grow in whatever activity or ideas that you're resonating with. So for me, that is the way I see it. So it encourages growth. It encourages increase in your financial status or services. It also makes you have increased ease of perfection. So that's the way I see it.
Okay, Louisa, what is your response to this very curious question I have? Because I really needed to know from everybody's perspective.
Okay, I've been battling with my video. I hope you guys can see me and you can hear me very well.
Yes, I can hear you, I can see you. So if you can hear, I'll just wave.
Okay, I'm appearing just everywhere. I'm wondering more like you say, but it's okay. These are some of the things we're talking about, having to understand these technologies and then use it very well. But before then, thank you very much, Digivation Network, for having me. Also, thank you, Madam Rita, for setting the tone for the discussion. It's an honor to be here to lend my voice on this very important day. And it's really an honor doing this with other great Amazons that are on this call, impacting the sector in very unique ways. I also want to congratulate and celebrate all women and girls across the world, particularly women in Nigeria, for their resilience. I mean, quite a lot is happening at this age and time, and it only takes strong people to, glance through and scale through all of the hurdles. Back to the question Mojisola asked, how important is the International Women's Day? The celebration should be important to all women, not just women in technology. As we all know, it is a special day, and not just the day, the whole month is dedicated to celebrating women. So, and it is for us to keep preaching this gospel of the need to bridge the very obvious gender gap that exists in almost every facet of the economy. I mean, it is a good thing for us to address the gender gaps in every area, especially the ICT, and how important these conversations can help to unlock significant commercial and socio-economic opportunities that will be beneficial to women and societies. I was reading somewhere, and then I noticed that the World Observance, according to the United Nations, that actually championing this, recognizes and celebrates women and girls who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education in various ways. And also, we're applauding this year's topic because it's actually looking at the digital gender gap and how it is widening economic and social inequalities. Again, the International Women's Day celebration is very important for women playing in the technology space. If you want to, narrow it down to why we're here today, as it brings to the fore issues concerning gender parity, the need to bridge the ICT sector, the need to encourage mentorship in areas where necessary, and also the need to challenge policies, of government and private sectors that are unfavorable to women in the sector. I mean, quite a lot of these still exist even to today. We still hear issues of wage inequality compared, to male colleagues, workplace and gender bias, shortage of female role models, and all of that. These are issues that are staring us in the face, and conversations like this help us readdress this issue and are intentional about addressing them as the day go by, so that at least we are at par with the global world as technology keeps advancing. So that's my take on that.
Thank you so much, Louisa, for your take on how important the International Women's Day should be to women in ICT and also women around the world. Murphy, you there? What is your take on how important this day should be to Nigerian women in ICT? We have the team ranging from embracing equity to DigitALL. You play in the startup ecosystem, so you must have seen maybe the challenges of some female founders towards investors responding to them. So from your perspective, how important should this day be for Nigerian women in ICT sector on the celebration?
Thank you, Mojisola. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me today. Thank you for that beautiful question. So I think that, the tech is an emerging space, right? It's an emerging issues here are somewhat peculiar to women, right? And a day like this presents an opportunity for all of us to come together and discuss these things. There's so many issues, from policy making to advocacy to even financing, that women experience, right? And so today, and for the rest of the month, and as much as we have the platform to, is for us to not only raise awareness about these issues, right, but to also discuss like our recommendations, potential solutions, and even the opportunities that organizations and even the country is missing out on by excluding women. I also like to say that I think that there has been significant progress over the years, and that might be because of the changing like cultural landscape, but there's still a huge gap. There's still so much more that can be done, right? And today, not only are we talking, this is like a talk and do space. We're pushing for everyone to implement most of the things that we say, because we know what we're saying. We have these unique experiences, and our perspectives are important. And today, again, is a day for us to encourage one another as women. For you to have the boldness to do what you're doing, for you to face the challenges that you face and still like push forward despite all the limitations. It's, if no one else is giving you a pat on the back, we as women are here to give you that pat on the back and
So
encourage you
let's
to give
embrace
yourself,
ourselves.
exactly, and encourage you to give yourself a pat on the back, because amazing. So I think that's why, a day like this is very, very important and beneficial to women in our space.
Okay, let's move forward. Different organizations such as UN and a lot of organizations have aligned with this thought of the need for inclusive and transformative technology and digital education, which is actually crucial to sustain the future, not only for technology, business, manufacturing, fashion, whatever it is. But the question is this: a lot of these organizations have come up with different strategies over the years. Some are working, some not. So what is the missing link in the strategy of female inclusion in Nigeria ICT sector? Madam Rita, can we have your response on that?
So for me, the missing link is that women refuse to understand their skills and power. A lot of us feel so degenerated that, oh, because I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to do this and I'm not supposed to do that. So we segregate. And it is high time we started knowing that there are things that we should also do. There is no job today that they say is particularly for a man or a job that is particularly for a woman. No. I will give an instance where in my organization today, when a woman is pregnant and has a baby, the woman is given maternity leave. The father of the baby is also given what we call paternity leave, whether he works in that organization or not. So what I mean is I have a female colleague whose wife just put to birth, and he tells us, oh, my wife just delivered. The company gives him a paternity leave. So what I'm trying to say is it is high time women started knowing that, yes, I can do this. The spirit of I can do it is what we need so that that disparity will no longer be there. Energize yourself, equip yourself, skill up yourself, and tell yourself, yes, I can do this. There is no place it is written that is only male that can do an engineering job. No, thank God today we have a lot of female genders that are now into being electrical, electronic engineers. There are people, aeronautic engineers, there are pilots and all that. Yes, I'm saying it. But what we are all saying is let's keep it going. Let's put in more. That if today in the world of aeronautics, we see 20 men, at least we can get 10 women that are also in that arena. In ICT, I am thanking God today that the story has changed. But when I started in the ICT world, we were just a few of us, just a few of us. But today, look at us. We are so many. Because then, even me, I was very skeptical to join the ICT world because I told myself, I'm not computer literate. So why would I be in this department? Why would I be in this sector? But I now told myself, I said, oh, that was when Y2K came out. And I said, oh, wow, I can actually upskill myself, which I did. And today, look at me, where I am today. Look at other women too. And I can stand proud to say, inside this country, Nigeria, if you look at the biggest multinationals, they're being headed by women. Intel, for instance, HP, for instance, Microsoft, IBM, name it. They are all being managed by women. And that is what we are talking about. So that is my stand. We need to begin to upskill, encourage ourselves, and encourage other women by the side. Because I tell myself, I said, days are gone when we should compete. Now, what are we doing? We are no longer competing. We are building community. And if we all embrace building community, we will understand that there is no need for competition. All we are doing is to put a step for the next person behind you to climb up, to step up, so that we all can build this beautiful community that we're talking about. Thank you.
Okay, Murphy, what is your response on that? What do you think is that missing link in the strategy of female inclusion in Nigeria ICT sector?
Are we talking from a policy perspective or just generally?
Generally, you can pick. That's why we have
Okay.
different people from different space.
Okay. So I would say it's very difficult to say there's, to pinpoint one missing link, right? But what I would say is there's so many things that can be done much better. For starters, like an obvious issue is representation of women at every level and in every scope, like Madam Rita said, right? Where policy making is concerned, women should be there. Where advocacy is concerned, women should be there. In entrepreneurship, women should be there. In financing, women should be there. And I say this because, first of all, it's important to acknowledge that women make up like half the population of the world, right? And even in Nigeria, like women make up a significant portion of the world. And we know significant portion of the population, right? And we know the challenges that we experience. We have perspectives that are not being reflected in, across board. And that's why I say there's so much that can be done, and not the tokenization that is done in some other countries. Or in a lot of other countries, there's the case of, oh, women must make up 40% and then they start cherry picking. No, what I'm saying is there are a lot of women that have earned their spaces at the table. They have put in the work and they quite as hard as the men, if not much more. And so these women should be recognized. They should be heard, right? I'd say that. And I'd also say that as women, like Madam Rita has said, we need to continue to put ourselves out. If there's anything that Nigerian men have, it is the audacity. And I don't know if it's Nigerian men or if it's men like globally. They would walk into the room and you would hear what they have to say, whether what they have to say is relevant or valuable, you would hear them. And I believe that women should put ourselves in that position where, um, where we need to be heard, we're heard, where we need to be seen, we're seen. Just showcase, let your work speak for you, basically. Do as much as you can do. And I think recognition is coming. Like, we're at the point where the space is changing. If the current change makers are resisting, we would create the space at the table for ourselves. That's it. The status quo is being bypassed and is being broken all the time, and we can see that even in the Nigerian politics, but there's no need to go into that. We're at a point where we would create the spaces, and that's the mindset that we need to have. We need to be cognizant of the fact that, like, our voices are needed. you know no change can no change can be achieved except we put ourselves out there. So that's my own piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Murphy. Let me make another announcement. When you're joining, please mute your mic. And also, Adeife, she's a certified virtual event organizer. Hello, Adeife. Thank you for joining us. I welcome other new guests that have joined us so far. So, continuing with the responses. Louisa, what do you think? You are an ICT media person for so long. You've seen the different space, whether policy, whether adoption of knowledge, everything. You've seen it all. You've reported it. The ones they want outside, the ones they don't want outside. So what do you think is missing in that strategy that should be used for female inclusion in Nigeria ICT sector?
Okay, thank you very much again, Moji. Like Madam Rita also rightly pointed out, I was never cut out for that sector. I mean, 8 years ago when Rave TV started, we were pushed to various bits, and I was shocked when I was told by my immediate boss then that I'll be reporting the sector, and I like, okay. I wasn't even a fan of STEM subjects. I don't know all of the industry jargons, but it was a case of saying it is that same sector that you don't want to go that you end up going. So we're like, I don't have a job in NNPC, so let me just go ahead. And you go in there, and in a room of about maybe 100 persons, you're seeing just 5 females, and all that. Even when we have guest speakers, they are, mostly male, and even those reporting the sector. I just got to, myself, Ogugo, we're not up to 5. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to cope with this? And then this idea of saying that women are always very not too accommodating. It is changing now. I mean, with all this hashtag of women help supporting women, I hope it comes to stay and it gets better by the day. But again, on the average, you look at the percentage. Nigerian women make up about 22% of the global total number of engineering and technology university graduates yearly. I mean, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, you ask yourself why that is. It starts from having to encourage the female children, the girl child, from the very young age to, embrace this STEM subject, having to help us understand that, yes, you can learn computer science, you can do all of these things. It's not rocket science, we're not just relegated to, communications, talkings, marketing and all of that, that we can actually do that. Just yesterday or so, I was going through a press statement by DG of NIDA. I don't know if you received that on the neutral page. And it read that in 2021, the United Nations estimated that Nigeria's female population was about 104 million. As Africa's largest economy, Nigeria has much to gain, if you ask me, with that population and facilitating the inclusion of women in technology. And based on that same press release, we're told that NIDA, has been implementing several strategic programs. Just recently, they actually earmarked about 4.4 billion US dollars in the last 4 years, for programs like NDEPS and the rest, which is also a good one. Also, the NCC following suit, recently introducing the Nigerian Girls Can Code as part of efforts to bridge the gender gap between male and female stakeholders in the ICT industry. All of this is a good one, but the missing thing is the ability to walk the talk, to support gender equality in the tech space. The key players will need to propel this movement. It's not just be policies on paper. We should see it materializing, and more private sector players too joining hands to ensure that more of things like this are put to the fore. I mean, all of these, can help us, thrive. And I was also talking about having to play down on stereotypes, and all of that we see playing out in the country. I love I don't know if you heard of Confidence Stavely, the CCNet, what she's doing now. She has concentrated on having to build young girls in technology, cybersecurity, and all of that. And each time that happens, we see international organizations picking and selecting these girls. If we train more of that, we'll see them representing us in other spheres outside the country. And these collaborations, will sure make us thrive and also meet up with other countries' stands.
Thank you very much for that response. And I know that the those that are at the top there, they are part of this talk. They are taking notes from let's walk the talk. No need to be saying it. And also for the women to be determined to be part of the change and be the change themselves. Somebody is raising their hand to make a contribution to this. After the set of line are done with this, we can always, every one of us can always make their contribution. So in summary, from the responses we have on this question is, not only should we create the table, we should attempt to be at the top of the table, at the end of the table, at the side of the table, everywhere of the table. If the door is not there, we should create the door. Thank you so much for these responses. And my next question is this. Personal experience. We want to learn from each other. One of the speakers have rightly pointed out, let's come together. The communities are there, are being created. So I'm going to personal experiences right now. How has your knowledge and expertise helped you navigate the Nigeria ICT industry, being a male-dominated industry? So can I start from you, Louisa? Then we take it back to Mufi and Co.
Okay, more like I already started on that note, having to understand that having to go into a sector where we have, permitted to use the word 99% of male, in that. My challenges I face as a woman reporting the sector will definitely be different from those playing, in the sector. Women in tech industry experience a myriad of challenges. Like I said, in my over 8 years, in this sector as a reporter in this industry, it wasn't fun at all at the initial stage because we have some sort of industry jargons that needed to be broken down. And then sometimes, like the other speaker said, if you're not confident enough to ask questions, you might just be there and like, okay, once they're done, let's just go so that nobody feels like you're just one, and all of that. But having to understand, to attend more of women-led conferences where these things are broken down to the understanding of everyone, that also helped. And again, having to walk up to people, men share ideas. Sometimes it seems that women tend to want to hide their ideas and don't talk about it. They joke on, some of their mess up, permit me to use that word, and then they glide over it. But we might be too conscious and too careful not to be seen as, someone that has made a mistake or something, and that might also be a problem. So I was almost acting like a man, for me to understand and also work with these people to understand how this works. These are some of my, experiences. Also, considering the fact that, like I said, you know, you mustn't be. I've seen some programmers today that are doing fantastically well. They never had to do all of the STEM stuff and all of that. They learned, you know, with the kind of jobs that are available now that the world wants. They had to, you know, understand and then go through it. Thanks to Google and the likes, all of these programs that they put together has also helped. Sometimes I feel I'm busy reporting the sector and I'm not equipping myself with the needed skills. So while you're doing that also, it's also good to also equip yourself so that you are reporting what you know about, and then it's also aid your reporting. You know, we need to have more women also reporting the sector, you know, and also learning on the job. Like I said, thankfully the men around me were open to guiding me through, and today I've been exposed to the industry with amazing mentors helping, you know, to make my job easy. Many women in Nigeria are also becoming strong voices of authority. Their presence, you know, around events, and you know, like was it Mrs. Rita that talked about how most industries today are led by women, even in the banking sector. That has also boosted confidence to know that yes, we are not alone in all of this, and then this industries can also thrive. Let us also learning to cultivate meaningful relationships with female and male peers alike. Um,
Networking.
oh, can you hear me?
No, I said networking with each
Yes,
other.
yes, yes. That is also a very good one. This, I mean, vital connections provide powerful support and motivation that help you remain focused on the roadmap. Like I said, I'm just a reporter. People playing in the sector also have their own unique, you know, challenges. I was talking to a lady yesterday because I'm also doing a report on women-led tech companies. Pivo was also telling us her story, how she, as a woman, she started out with another woman, and now they're fortunate to have gotten one of the Google Black Founders Fund, you know, recently, and that is also helping them to grow and scale up. Some people might have very fantastic ideas and they don't have the fund, you know, to push these ideas. Having to have private organizations like that pushing these people is also key. So it's not just enough for us as the country to have the whole ICT formulation, all the sector and everything. Are we walking the talk? That should be another thing. And then people playing in the sector can also drag more people. I keep using Stavely, Confidence Stavely as an example. She's doing amazing in that field, having to pour out what she has learned, grooming young people with her, what's it called again?
Cyber girls.
Yes, cyber girl stuff. And then she gives us every update as to how some of these girls, when they go out for interviews outside for national companies, they are always among those that will be selected tops. That's a good one. We need more of those kind of engagement to groom young girls that are taking interest in ICT.
Okay, so more on personal experiences. Mufi, can you share how your expertise has actually helped you navigate growing in the Nigeria ICT sector?
Okay, well, technically, I'm not primarily in the Nigerian tech sector. If anything, I play an auxiliary role because of what Endeavor does, right? But I work with them a lot, and I'm coming from an engineering background. I've worked in several spaces that have been somewhat male dominated, and one thing that I've picked up is in some way to think the way the men think. The men are not walking into the room thinking I'm a man. They're not
Mm,
walking into the room thinking I'm meeting with a woman. No,
mm,
they're walking into the room thinking I'm an engineer and I'm discussing with an engineer. And that's it. That's the perspective that you should have. You are, if you're a programmer, you're a programmer, you're discussing with the programmer. So you're relating on the same wavelength. If you're in marketing, you're a marketer, you're discussing with someone in your space and you're relating based on what you know and the value that you both have to share.
mm.
Um yeah, so I think that that sort of positive mental conditioning is very important. Like women have to acknowledge the value that they have. You're not a man. You don't want to be a man. You don't have to think the way he does or speak the way he does. But what you are is an engineer. You're his colleague, you're his peer, and you know what you know, right? And so you're going to engage with him. So that's one thing that I would say, knowing that like who you are and your own experiences. And another thing I would say is even the way we discuss as women, my experience is completely different from yours. Your experience is completely different from Madame Louisa's. You know, we're not people, and so our experiences, our perspectives, our ability to be creative, like it it differs on different levels, and you need to know yourself. Is that
Mm,
self-awareness? That's one. Yeah. Two, like I said before, it's knowing when to be heard and being heard, knowing when to be seen and being seen. It's just being intentional and intuitive. Um, if you enter a space and you don't want to, it is about what you want to. If you
mm,
don't think that you want to be heard, then just be there meekly and listen and absorb what you want to absorb, get what you want to get and leave. But if you have a contribution to make, then by all means make it. If it's not, you don't know who's listening, you don't know who's watching, you don't know who has something to learn from what you've just said, or who you're giving a fresh perspective on an issue. So by all means, like, just be yourself, do what you want to do without any fear, confident in your abilities and your experiences. And then the third thing is what Madame Louisa said, it's relationships, right? And I find that today a lot of the opportunities are not necessarily what you know. You can be the very
mm,
best engineer and you just wouldn't get those opportunities, right? It's about who you know and what they know that that sort of thing. And so relationships are very important as much as possible. If you network upwards, network downwards, network horizontally, just keep building those relationships because they would come in handy. I would say that I'm a beneficiary of that in some regards. I got my job here because I had a conversation with someone who knew that there was an opportunity that would be a good fit for me. And I know of several other women that have
mm.
learned and have received like opportunities like that as well. So yeah, those are the three things that I would say from my own personal experience.
Okay, still on personal experience. Thank you, Mofi. Rita Indidi, what's your own personal experience? Do you think your expertise has it actually helped you navigate? Just on the question.
Okay, so for me, honestly, I'm learning from all that we are saying today, and that's what really works for me. So my personal experience is how fast I learn and how I intend to, you know, team up with my team, so to speak. Because in life, I have come across a lot of things that worked and didn't work. And
Mm,
now I'm able to stand and say, this will work and this will not work. Like everyone spoke, and some of us here had said, you go into an arena, if you feel you don't want to speak, you keep quiet. If you want to speak, you speak. And because you are an engineer, feel like talking to an engineer. I like that part a lot. And again, I want to add to it because for me, honestly, personally, how it works for me is always stuff yourself up. And what do I mean by stuffing yourself up? Um, don't go into an arena and be empty, irrespective
mm,
of what is happening there. Just be bold with content. I haven't seen any man that is not bold.
mm,
And when I mean I haven't seen any man, it means that if there are 1,000 men, maybe we have 98 men who are bold. So that's why my generalization. So for women, I see a lot of timid people. I've come across a lot who can't even stand in to have a conversation. They can't even have an interview. Once you mention there's an interview, they just fly off. So it's not because they can't do it, it's because they are timid. So why
mm,
don't you look at yourself and compliment yourself and tell yourself, I can do it? So when you
mm,
compliment yourself and improve yourself, you are able to stand strong because all these things are things that will work. Stop comparing yourself with other person. Don't say, oh, because Rita has done it well. Oh, why can't I do it? No, all you can do is, oh, Rita has done it well. She's a lady. So let me go find out how she did it, equip myself, and do same, if not more, because that is why I said at the beginning, we need to encourage one another and build a community. Because if you begin to now say, oh, she has done it, how did she do it? You begin to envy. It won't work. Envy
mm,
doesn't work. And then women do a lot of that. Men don't have time for that. Though now they do it, and they do it in such a way that it's even worse than what women do. Yes, but they have a way around about it. But again, Like I said, I compliment myself. I'm using myself as an instance purely. I compliment myself. What I do by complimenting myself is knowing that I'm going out for something. I have to equip myself towards that something so that I am bold with content in my brain to deliver whatever content that I have. I put a smile while doing it. I network friendly while doing it. So I don't know in terms of networking who could be my Messiah. And what I mean by Messiah is giving me my next level. Let's all learn from that. Every opportunity gives you the next level. Today, I'm having a conversation with loaded women with
Digivation.
DigiServe. Yeah. So tomorrow, I don't know where I'm going to meet the rest of the team of ladies that are here. They could tell, oh, I met Rita in that conversation. She was good. She wasn't good. Then I could also meet them somewhere. So, oh, I've heard about Endeavor and I met, this lady. She spoke so very well. She's calm. She's this. She's that. So that's how. So when you walk into any particular place, try and understudy that place. Know how it suits your person. What is it that you can give in that particular place? Do you have stuff for them or you don't have? So even if you don't have, they want you to have. So create some stuff for them. And again, gentle with whomsoever you have met, irrespective of who that person is, whether a low person or a high person, be very gentle with the person. I have one word I learned in the past. I said, I may not be perfect, but parts of me are pretty awesome. I won't know it all. But there's something in me that is very fantastic that everybody is looking out for. So I have to bring that particular part of me that will make me pretty awesome for people to see my awesomeness. So that's how I say it. So my personal, guide for everyone and how I say it is you must resonate with what makes you quickie, what makes you shine, what makes you come out. So focus on them and focus on how you make it work for you and how far it can take you. While you're doing it, remember that people working with you, people there, people in your team or not in your team or in the company are also part of your growth. So be kind to them and be cautious on what you do with them. So, like that, you're able to have stepping stones that you are going to use to climb to your next career level or your next level, whatever it is. And try to always reach out. Support is very important.
Women
I
supporting
support
women.
a lot. Yes, I support a lot. When I mean support, is not financial support. You can support in any way you can, be it mentorship, be it guidance, be it anything, be it even going out of your way to ask questions. Why is it that you're delaying with your work? Why is it that you're not moving forward? Why are you moving very quickly? Engage in discussions. It helps a lot. Don't assume. I don't ever assume. Never. Maybe that's why things are very different from my view. I have never assumed anything. I don't assume that you're good, nor do I assume that you're bad. So I allow it flow to give me that natural feeling to now take a decision. So that is it. If I continue to talk about self equipment and self resonation, we won't go to there because that is where everything lies on. Experience makes you a perfect person. And when you share experiences, people learn from it. Maybe we'll have another discussion on experience, life performance experience. That will take us to where we are going to. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita Ndidi. And I've taken note of that. When it is well prepared and we are able to get people to sign on, definitely we will reach out. But before we wrap up on this, on a very sensitive matter, that whether we, from personal experience, developing networking, not looking at, oh, I'm a woman entering a room, I have to look at my specialization, I have to network, I have to load myself up with knowledge in order to be able to interact, I have to make myself available in order to be able to meet opportunities, because they said when they say lucky, you are lucky, it means you are prepared and you met opportunity, then therefore you are able to meet. But on a very issue that is very sensitive, policy. When women have done all this, men have done all this, everybody has gone on capacity development, self-development, excuse me, and we've all done this. But the industry we play in, policy, it plays a very vital role on its development as well. But one of the things that have come to light that we've all seen recently or over the years, let me put it that way, is that there are no sustainable amount or needed amount of women that are part of policymakers. They are not in the industry. So do, do we still need more women to be part of the policymaker level for the industry to actually try to a stage that can work for everybody? Rita Ndidi, what's your response on this?
You're a woman, you're a human being. I mean, whatever we get our hands on shouldn't be about, your sexual or I mean your sex or whatever. So we need qualified hands at every helm of affairs, irrespective of their sex. It should start from the employment stage. If you're employing, are you particular about it being a male or a female? Just by the side, I remember the time where my elder sister wanted to get into a bank, and they were kind of specific as to who they wanted. You have to be tall, 6 feet, whatever, or 5 feet plus, fair, and all of that. And that from there made us feel some sort of awkwardness concerning all of the criteria. It should be about who is qualified for the job first, irrespective of the sex. So from the promotion stage to the appointing and the managerial stage, position, and all of that, once employment stage is not based on gender sentiment, people will naturally grow along the ranks, and the most eligible will be selected for prime position. So no doubt the expertise of leading women in industry will sure be the icing on the cake, especially at advising on innovations and policies that will affect women and are women specific. Since we're the ones that wear the shoes, we know where it pinches. I mean, you can, argue based on that. So there's need to share information on policy and institutional issues, skills development, exchange transfers, and all of that. Attract financing and investment from private sectors and others. So we might not have a lot of women. We need more. But like I said, if these policies are okay, they're genuine, and those that have implemented it will keep it running, hit the ground to allow it run. It doesn't really matter who is, pushing this policy. It's about having things not just on the pages of papers, but it being, coming into life, coming into play, and the effect being felt by all. To me, that's what I think.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your response on that. Before we go ahead, I just want to welcome our new guests that have joined us. I don't want it to end. Oh God, I'm enjoying this conversation really because we are hitting the nail on the head from different angles. I want to welcome Dr. Afolabi. He's a former UN ambassador. Welcome. Fumi Omolaja, welcome. I also want to point out to guests, when you're a guest user, if you put your name instead of using the tag name guest user, that will also help in recognizing you and welcoming you. But in any case, all new guests and those that have joined us on the talk, welcome and thank you so much for sparing us your time. So continuing on policy, do we need more women on the policy making level to help Nigeria ICT sector thrive more, or we should just leave it the way it is now? Mofi?
Okay, I think that's a very interesting question. Um, and I would say, yes, we need women. Again, we need women represented at every level just for inclusion, just to bring like a unique perspective, a different perspective into the room. However, what I think is policy making for the industry is basically reflective of the country right now. If you look
Mm,
at, the policymakers at the federal level, state level, local, even like public and private, even in banking, that is a somewhat more developed industry. When you get to that top and it gets to things like policy making, the women are lesser in the room, right? But what I think is we've gotten to a point where we're moving beyond demanding to have representation to creating those opportunities where we are heard. If you don't hear us in those rooms, you will hear us outside the rooms. However, we are heard, right? That's one thing. And again, like Madam Louisa said, it's very important that we go from a point of talking about policy making and creation and development to actually implementing those policies, because um, things like policies can be like a tick the box system in this country. It is just there for the sake of being, so that they know that we've done it, right? But actually implementing those things at every level is where we should be pushing for, so that we as women can also identify what is working and what is not working, where the gaps lie and where the and where there has been progress. So these are some of the things that I can say. But yes, I know that women have a role to play at every level. Thank you very much.
Rita Ndidi, your response. Thank you, Mofi, for that. She's back.
Yeah, so I feel same way. Women are needed in the policy arena because that is actually where the matter is. Because what we think, what we feel, and what we know needs to be felt. Our voices need to be heard. We need to communicate. We need to, add our own, perspective to this policy making. Because at the end of the day, this policy, whom are you making it for? You're making it for both female and male. So of course, you need us in the room to also give our own kind of reasoning to it, so that at the end of the day, we are all together making these policies that we know that me and you are going to invite. So yes, I say that women are needed, and not just that for policy making. Women are needed everywhere. Reason why we're having this discussion, reason why we are scaling up, reason why we're doing all that we're doing, so that our impact can be felt in everywhere, not just today we see people doing politics. So I mean everywhere. Let's just be all rounder. I need women to be everywhere. I want to walk into a room where I'm discussing. When I look up, I see like 3 or 4 women. So like that, I'm able to feel comfortable, not where I walk in, I just see all men. I remember when I was having my PhD exam, they call it the startup exam to be taken, is an interview, oral interview. And I walked into that place. I had 7 professors, not single woman. I was so devastated. And in fact, that was actually what made me pass. And I told them, I said, why are you guys intimidated that I'm the only woman in the room? So they just looked at me and said, look at these students. I say, yes, because if you're not intimidated, you would have had a woman here sitting to have this oral interview. They now turned around and say, oh, this is women empowerment. I said, no, this is diversity and inclusion. What it is. So we need to be everywhere, even if it is just one single woman speaking on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for the responses from the main speakers on these beautiful questions. Um, the men in the house, can you wave, please? Because we are throwing it to everybody in the house now. This last question is for everybody. Aha. So on the chat column, I'm not seeing questions. If you have questions for the speakers, maybe Louisa, Mofi, Rita Ndidi, just type them there, then I will definitely pass it across to them. And definitely, like Rita Ndidi has pointed out, we will still have other sessions where it's purely on personal development for women, because whether you like it or not, like most of the speakers have emphasized before, if you have not equipped yourself with knowledge, work on your personal development. When you get to the stage, when you get to the front of, okay, they say we know they allow na talk. Okay, you are here. Oh yeah, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? And we've seen so many years from Marie Curie to Angela Bassett, from movie to manufacturing, fashion, Chanel. They had to work twice, 3 times as hard just for them to get a glance to say, okay, somebody is doing something there. And as long as this is happening, women will be able to position themselves. So to all the men in the house, please wave, let's see you. I know you guys are especially that strategy. I saw somebody waving. I see somebody waving and saying, yeah, women too, we have what to say. So please, can you wave? Let's see your hand, men in the house, because this last question is for everybody, and I will love everybody. Mr. Harrison Oloye, welcome. I see other guest users, but they didn't change the tag to their name so that I'll be able to recognize them. We have Dr. Afolabi too. We have we have we have so many males. Thank you for giving us our our space. We have so many males in the house. We have Young L, and we have so many people from Endeavor to Joy Teniola. Thank you so much for your time, for being part of this talk. My last question to everybody, let us tear this down because it has been a question that is like a big elephant in the room for most gatherings. Can men actually contribute to equality, whether workplace or otherwise, industry-wise? Any man in the house ready to respond to that?
May I say a few words, please?
Oh, please go ahead. Can you introduce yourself, please? And if possible, let's see you.
Yes, I'm trying to arrange that. I will. My name is
Just click
Shola
on your
Falabi.
video icon.
Yes. Uh, my name is Shola Falabi.
Oh, welcome, Dr. Folabi.
Thank you, ma'am. From my perspective, I have 5 daughters
Wow.
only, and they are all doing very well in their respective fields. In fact, only one of them has chosen the IT career. But I think a man, it starts from the home where the man tells the daughter, you can be anything you want to be. You are not restricted to any seemingly female role. You can be whatever it is you want to be and encourage her in whatever she wants to be. Then it goes to the boardroom. I think somebody gave an example of a board interview. Right now, unfortunately, men dominate the uh, the boardroom. And when it comes to interviews and choice of candidates, men can always stand for equity and say, yes, among these 3, I want to choose the best. And even if that person is a female, it is even better. I think those are the 2 roles that I can immediately put my finger on. And I thank you all very much for allowing me to join this discussion. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Much welcome, sir. Uh, I don't know, Adeife, can you just make 1 or 2 statements in response to this question? I know you are busy there. Just, Mr. Harrison Oloye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being part of
Fimoji.
the conversation.
All right, so mine is just a little contribution, and it's in line with what Doctor just said. Funny enough, I don't know what Doctor wants more. He said he has 5 only in this jet age. 5 only. So the good news is for some of us that sticking to just 2, by God's grace, I have a daughter and I have a son. Funny enough, the girl is doing much better in tech space. She's the gadget type. She's the one that is coding, and it's just about the level of introduction she got from the onset. So it's not about the gender. It's
Okay.
about interest from the parents, from pupils, from even girls. I mean, on their own, women on their own. With the little years we've stayed in life, we found out that women are much better in management, even in coding. I mean, they are kind of patient enough, you know. When a man gets married, the first thing he's going to be thinking of is, I'm going to provide for my wife. For There's so much pressure on men. So it's about interest. It's not about the gender to me. So I got to join the conversation late, but I think it's worth it to keep pushing the women, and not just the women, pushing everybody in the tech space to get to the best of their career.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrison, for your response to that. Any other male in the house that would like to respond? Because we want to give you guys your time. Because by the time I go back to the ladies now, we like to gist.
Just to tell Mr. Harry that the pressure is mutual.
Okay.
And I welcome the new guests joining us, Victoria, Ezike, JM, um, Fumi Aluko, Fumi Omolaja. Thank you. We have Jide Abe Abiola. Thank you for being part of the talk. Okay, now that we've had the perspective of the men as fathers, as experts in their various fields, and those of them that have played in the tech or other industries, interests, catch them young. That's my summary of it all. So, Rita Ndidi, what is your response to this question? Can men actually help in equality and equity in the workspace and in the industry?
Yes, men can actually help, and they've been helping. I can tell you that for free. So they can help. And how can they help? How they can help is to stop seeing us less important and to stop seeing us as less active. Because there are some men who truly belittle women. In as much as we're trying to talk about equity, in as much as we're trying to talk about embracing, equity at workplace and even anywhere, men still have that tendency of, oh, she's like the woman in my home. We know that we give you all the support, we give you all the respect, but again, give us that little attention of allowing us do that thing that God has given us as gift, which is showcase our own creativity, showcase what we have as strength. Some men don't allow women to work because, I stay at home, look after my children. My children are more important to me than any other thing. But you forgot that whether they sit at home to look after these children, God has already programmed what these children will be. And taking after children or taking care of children is not just about a woman's job. It's supposed to even be 70% of a man's job, then 30% of a woman's job. So that is how men can help. Men can help by teaming together with their wives at home to train the kids. Men can also help in the position in the office by employing more women, giving them support. Those who are already employed, equip them. Don't say this training is for men, not for women. Go and sit down. You are not going for this training in Lagos, or you're not going for this training in Abuja. It's only for men. You don't have the capacity. I don't know when you will be pregnant. I've seen it happen. I've seen where women come for interviews. They say, go and do pregnancy test. Who says that a pregnant woman cannot function? There's nobody who says. There are men who don't get pregnant. They still cannot function. So men can help in several ways. And in fact, I give it to them that they should help 90%. And like I said, thank God things are turning around for women Some companies now, when they want to put out a position, do you know what they say? They said you will get XXX rebate or XXX commission if you employ a woman. So they go all out to look for that best woman out there to interview and to employ. So that is what we are talking about. So we men, we leave it up to you. We ask you, keep giving us that hope, keep helping us at home, at work, everywhere. Encourage us. If you see us lack, support us, equip us, train us. Tell us this is how to do it so that we do it better and become better women. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that response. Oh my goodness. Yeah, conversation is becoming more, much more interesting at the end. Louisa, what's your take?
First and foremost, I want to say kudos to Mr. Hillary again. 5 daughters. I mean, in my family, it's the other way around. I had 5 boys and just 2 girls.
Wow.
But I like the fact that, of course, like he said, it starts from the home. Some, societal stereotypes needs to be changed. I mean, when you see a lady, a female child that is assertive, they are seen as aggressive, proud and all of that. But if the male children are that assertive, they give them like, okunrin meta, they even call them ekun. And they say they are confident. I mean, that should, such should stop. Encourage young girls to speak. I've seen people that go under that would never say anything again because the first time they tried to speak, they were looked down on, or they were shouted at, or they felt like they are insignificant. So sometimes, having to build that confidence yourself, even if the men are not giving you, but again, it's coming from the men goes a long way. I'm a woman with 3 boys, and I went into the media, no house help, nothing, and I've been
You are
able to survive in the
contributing
last
indeed.
8 years plus. So I'll say thanks to my husband, because each time something comes up, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I didn't know that that's what I want to do, because he knows I'm stubborn a bit. But I go like, okay, this is what I want to do. And he goes like, fine, if it makes you happy, go ahead and I'll give you all the support. Even if I wanted to, be on the edge to say this is what I wanted, the fact that he has already said, yes, this is what you want. Is it beneficial to you? Is it what you want to do? I would give you as much support as I can. That encourages and feels like, okay, it's not just about yourself being self-centered, and the children, everything has to be on me. When we understand these things, it also helps. Also, having to channel the conversation from home, saying that, okay, as a boy child, as a male child, understanding the differences of these women, having to know.
Yeah.
There was one country recently that said they're going to start giving, holidays and extra stipend for women going through menstrual cramp, and people started saying, oh,
I
and all
think
of
it's
that. Okay,
Ireland.
yeah, and it became a subject of conversation. I mean, while I would say that, the male and the female makeup, God created us differently. Having to understand all of these extras that come with either the male or the female also helps us, deal with them accordingly. So it starts from grooming the boy child to know that, yes, respect the choices of the women you mingle with. I do not want this, simply means you should respect that woman. And together, sometimes we concentrate on saying, oh, let's train the female child and forget the male. Or let's talk about leave no boy behind and we leave the female. Together, let's groom them simultaneously so that as they grow, they understand that, these are the peculiarities of each sex. And then together, we can make the world a better place.
Thank you. Mofi, your take on this.
Thank you very much. So my take is basically in line with what every other person has said. Biases are really cultural, right? Babies, when they're born, they are not looking at your skin. They're not looking at whether you're a boy or girl. They're not looking at whether you're Igbo or Yoruba, right? They can be friends with you. They would play with, but ultimately, like the environment that they're in inform who they become as, individuals, right? If their parents are telling them, oh, you are a girl, go to the kitchen. You are a boy, go to the XYZ, or you're a boy, play with your friends, and you are a girl, read your books, etc. Those sort of things are the things that condition them to be who they are. So yes, I would say men have a role to play, but I would actually say that everyone has a role to play in this. Like even with as in as much as we're playing the parts that we're playing, inherently internally we still have biases that it's not, sometimes it's unconscious, you don't know, it will just come out and you're like, oh my god, why did and we have a lot to learn about, like, to to change, to be the change we want to see, essentially. So yes, men have a role to play, women have a role to play, and we it is all about us working together to drive the change we want to see. Thank you.
Thank you for the responses. And in summary, I would like to say this on this very question. Oh, sorry, we have Dr. Mary Bishop. I think she has left. Okay. Okay. There was one particular law that came out in Ireland, like Louisa pointed out. When it came out, the reception for it was quite okay, to the extent that they extended it to, I think, 4 working day a week. And when I read that article, one of the reasons the country pointed out was that the parents are needed more at home, because the father is not at home, mom is not at home, everybody is just running around, and whoever you know you know attacking these children, whether psychologically, mentally, physically, whichever one. And that brings it down to what Dr. Afolabi, Rita Indidi, Louisa, every person said: home. Because the home makes the society, and from the society we have what we have. People are complaining that, oh, those of them that are there, who are the there? They are from us, they are part of us. They are not Germans, they are not Americans, they are us. That is what the home is producing, putting into the society, and what society is presenting for leadership, whether in the industry, whether politics, whether state level, whichever one that it is that is, providing. Thank you so much to all the speakers and all the guests that have joined us. I would like to say we appreciate your time, your patience of 1.5 hours, contributing your insight, your quota to what, yeah, please, can you mute Jide Abe? Can you mute, please? Please, can you mute? Hello? Jide Abe, can you mute, please? Okay, so thank you so much, for the time. We have so many different people in the ICT sector. Like Mofi said, she's not like techie person, but she plays in the field. We have Louisa, we have Rita Indidi, we have Jide, Abiola Jide, we have Adeife. She's a virtual and technology event creator. She creates a virtual event place for you, where you can hold your events in the virtual world. We see women doing these things, different space. We have those from the blockchain, they are part of the talk as well. We have those from the fintech. I'm seeing um, uh, Titi, thank you for being part. Everybody is here. Thank you so much. We have a full house and the discussion is quite rich. Thank you once again for your time. I thank the panelists. I thank the guests. I thank you guys for your insightful responses, for sharing your experiences, which is very, very important. Your experiences, ladies have listened to it. I've learned one or two things here today, really. I have. And your thoughts, they are so candid. I am so, so proud to be part of this conversation today. So, Mofi Olawumi from Endeavor, thank you very much. Louisa Olani from WION, thank you very much. Rita Indidi Amuchenwa of Intel West Africa, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Afolabi Fumi Omolaja, Jide Abe Arisinoloye, thank you, Jennifer Ezekiel, thank you so much. Titi from the FinTech Association of Nigeria, thank you. In fact, I know if I had more people on the panel, this place would be blowing up. I know everybody has something to say from FinTech, blockchain, cloud computing, data center. e-health, e-education, everybody is here. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you for being part of this talk.
This is Digivation Network.